level, which is around about function and things like that, the function and the behaviour of use of a product. So there's kind of trust in products in that your phone is going to do what you want it to do, or that the cup is not going to spill. You know, if I turn the water upside down, it's going to allow me to kind of trust that. And then finally, there's a reflective kind of meaning-based level. And for instance, this cup, a bit of that comes from the fact that it's made of recycled ocean plastic, so it sort of means something and there's a message to it. So my research, my PhD, focuses on developing a tool for industrial designers, for furniture designers to use in their practice, which is called the emotional design deck. So to do this research, I looked initially at a whole range of existing tools, and these are tools that are used by designers sometimes day to day, other times they might look at it once and kind of remember it. One of the most famous is the Design Council's Framework for Innovation, which is that double diamond. And that encourages designers to take divergent and then convergent thinking around their ideas, think big, and then kind of narrow in. So there's a whole load of tools, including things like card decks that are for use in brainstorming design processes. And that's the sort that I'm developing. So before I developed these cards, I did lots of different research, a consumer survey with 275 people who responded and spoke about their favourite piece of furniture. So there were 50 people out of those 275 who didn't have a piece of furniture. So at question one, they didn't have a favourite piece of furniture. I wasn't interested. The survey then ended for them. Don't want to hear from those people. They're kind of out of reach. Everyone else gave great, rich insight into why they loved their furniture and what it meant to them. And then a number of those people I interviewed with semi-structured consumer interviews, and they told me about really kind of the deep meanings behind their favourite pieces. And some of those were quite emotional, and actually I got a little bit emotional in those interviews talking about their life. I interviewed designers, because of course they're the people using the tool, loads of trend and sales data, and I've done literature reviews into things like iconic furniture. So which furniture that's been around for 100 years is now considered iconic, and why? That all fed into the tool that looks a bit like this. So there's three elements of the deck. There are aesthetics cards, which talk about that visceral, the way something looks and how that impacts us. There's the kind of pink-coloured experience cards, which look at how we use things and how they work. And then there's the green meaning cards. Okay, so to give you an idea of what these look like, this one's also got my cup on it. The whole project isn't about my cup, I promise, but this is just a happy accident, really. So each card has a strategy title, and then on it, the most important thing is that main strategy that you can see on the right there. So this particular card is talking about recycled and reclaimed materials. On there, there's additional information. There's an example of how the strategy could be applied or has been applied before. And the designer can basically look at these cards. They can have some serendipity in the way they use them. You could pick three randomly, or you could work through them. It's about how the designer employs the tool in their own way. There isn't a set way that you have to use it. So I carried out an emotional design workshop with some of our creative students, and they spent 3 hours with me, first designing a piece of furniture without the tool, and then afterwards using the tool. I didn't introduce the tool to them because when the tool is released, I won't be there to explain it. They just had to explore it and discover it. And what I noticed is collaboration really increased when they were using the tool. The room was much noisier. They were working together, having conversations about what this piece of furniture could be and how it could connect with people on an emotional level, rather than just creating something kind of a random shape. 100% of the students said they enjoyed using the tool. We did some kind of evaluation after that. And just to give you a little insight to some of the ideas, maybe if we look top right where we've got this modular table, the students here were using 3 of the experience cards. They really wanted to use loads of the cards. So they had this social platform, they were looking at adaptability and about growing furniture. But then the meaning one came from making the furniture their own. So they looked at how you could perhaps put photographs or artifacts under the glass of these tables. And they were looking at how these surfaces in our home kind of adapt from maybe somewhere to do some crafts things, to a dining table, to a kind of workstation, to work from home. So that adaptability was really important. So these were some of the kind of strategies that they employed and what the end result was. Students said it's really inspiring learning to understand how emotional design can be integrated into their work, made them reconsider their ideas and methods, and it pushed them to consider areas of design they wouldn't normally consider. So I think that was really good feedback from them. Part of the tool is about aiming it at designers, but also for students, and something that could feed into the curriculum. Emotional design is something that's not really taught very much yet. It's been around as a term for just under 20 years, but it is something that's becoming more and more important to make sure that there's a sustainability element to the design process and creating products that connect with people on an emotional level, so they're not just going to throw them away. Okay? And I think furniture represents a really good opportunity for creating things that are longer lasting and that we don't just throw away. Some things like a washing machine, hard to create like an emotional connection with that. You know, it's not, we don't love it, it breaks, we get it repaired or we replace it. But furniture can sort of live with us, it can become an heirloom, it can pass down. So next steps, I'm continuing to develop these cards based on all the feedback from the students. In the summer, I'm going to be testing with a group of designers who are going to come in and use this tool, and tell me what they really think. On each card, there is a value badge that is about a key theme. So there's key themes of narrative, user experience, things like that, and that's being developed. And I've also had lots of conversations with people over the last couple of months about the wider opportunities for this tool, to use it not just for furniture, but other sides of design, maybe creative workshops, kind of citizen science approaches. So there's really exciting opportunities for the tool after this. And I think I've got 10 seconds left, but that's me. That was my emotional design deck. Thanks for listening.